Alright, so I was intending on sending you a video with all the exercises that I listed on the email that I sent you last week. It's taken me a little while to get to that. I do apologize, but just to walk through so you can get a visual on everything I was talking about. I'm just going to go through that first 5-minute sequence that I listed. And the first thing is basically coming into this sort of odd squat position. Now just a standard squat would be heels in, toes out, and sinking all the way down. But what I'm talking about with you, to strengthen your foot, strengthen the arch of your foot, is to bring the toes together, lift the heels, and bring the knees out as wide as you can. And so this is going to help you strengthen your feet a little bit, and just kind of get used to pressing your toes into the floor and really pressing into the ball mount of your foot. And this is kind of a demi-point shape with the foot from here. Though of course you're not actually extending the legs, it's not a formal point. But initially, you just want to come into this position. Knees as wide apart as you can keep them, and keep them nice and wide. And just bring the fingertips to the floor. And then 5 times or more, just go from side to side. Bring your right knee down, keep the left knee wide. And then come back to center, bring the left knee down, and keep the right knee wide. And just take this back and forth. And you'll probably be able to keep your legs a little wider than I'm able to, but the crucial thing for you is staying on your toes, keeping your heels lifted, and feeling this through your feet. And part of this is just getting used to warming, opening up the hips initially, and activating the feet. Really before you do anything else. I recommend doing this pretty early in the day. Just take it back and forth. Doesn't have to be super fast. It's probably a little uncomfortable on the feet. If they do separate a little bit, it's not a big deal. They don't absolutely have to be touching, but you do want to keep the heels lifted and keep the feet active as you're going back and forth from here. The second thing was basically coming from this position to a forward fold. So we'll just start out in the same initial position. The feet on the floor, the heels lifted, the knees nice and wide, fingertips to the floor, and about 10 to 25 times, just going back and forth with the fingertips down, lift the hips, keep the heels up, and then come back down, and lift and lower. And the first couple times, it doesn't feel like much, but once you do this past 10 times, once you get up to 25 times, you're definitely going to feel this on the legs. If you keep the heels lifted, you'll especially feel this through your calves, and that is intentional. So definitely work to keep the heels lifted and work this into your calves. And part of the thing for strengthening for you is building up strength through the lower leg. The work through the calves is going to help you strengthen the ankle. It's going to help you strengthen the foot. So about 10 to 25 times. I would recommend starting at 25 times initially when you start doing this. But just go back and forth with that. Take a break whenever you need. Now, if you're trying to do 25 times and you decide it's too much to do that 25 times in a row, that's certainly fine. I mean, you can break it up into as many little chunks as you need, but just take a little break, shake your feet out. If a foot cramps, just stop for a moment, try to release the cramp, come back to it. Maybe do one, stop, do another, stop, do another, stop. Take it at whatever pace works for you. And over time, you should be able to get used to this, and your feet start to strengthen, and you'll build more tolerance toward repeating this sort of motion. And keep in mind, even as you do repeat it, it's not going to all of a sudden just be absolutely smooth and absolutely natural. I still feel this when I do this, and I have the strength that you're lacking through the ankle there. So just work it as best you can through there. The next thing was basically a forward fold to a one-legged hop. And let me see, I'm going to have to take a little bit of a side view from here. So let me step this back a little bit. And what I'm talking about here, you're going to start with the feet flat. Keep your legs loose, bring your palms down to the floor. And you want to keep your hands nice and flat. So keep a bend in both knees. And then one foot stays on the floor. The other one, you get light, put the knee into your chest, bring the heel up to your seat. And then this is what I'm talking about here. You're going to lift the heel of that foot, put the weight in your arms. Keep the arms straight, so no bend at the elbows. You got your shoulders over your wrists, and then you're just hopping to about a down-legged dog position, and then hop forward. And then switch it out, other foot. Bring the heel to your seat, and hop this back, and then hop it forward. And again, just work that for repetitions as well. That'll put some more strength, that'll help you build a bit more strength through the arms and shoulders. And also it's getting into that foot, and I'm really hammering the control of that foot in for you, because you definitely need to build a lot more control and a lot more strength around that ankle joint and through the lower leg. And I think that's all I had for the warm-up from here. Yeah, so I'll put another video together with the rest of the routine. Alright, Sagan, so this is the second part of the routine that I sent for you, and I'm just going to walk through all the positions so that sometimes it's easier just to see all this stuff rather than to read it in an email. So the first thing I'm recommending, and all this should take you to about 10 to 15 minutes total. The first thing is a 1-minute plank, and basically this is just that plank shape, and I'm sure you know this already, but just to review. You're going to be on your hands, wrists underneath the shoulders, arms are nice and straight, fingers spread wide, and really press your palms into the floor. Keep your body straight. So press down to the floor, press your spine toward the ceiling. Keep the hips in line with the shoulders and heels, more or less. There might be a little bit of a lift, but not too crazy. You want to keep things more or less straight. Press into the toes, and be careful not to sag through your shoulders. So really press your spine up. Make sure everything stays active through the upper body. And just bring your gaze just a little bit forward. The crown of your head is what reaches forward from this position. And hold it for about a minute. And it's a minute total. If you need to do it 6 times at 10 seconds, 2 times at 30 seconds, that works. And if you can hold this for a full minute, and I believe you did when I was at your house, build up to 2 minutes. And 2 minutes is about where you want to max out. Again, with the 2 minutes, you can do that 2 times at 1 minute each, 4 times at 30 seconds, or whatever works. But this is going to help you build some initial strength, just straight arm strength of holding tension through the arms, through the shoulders, and really start to engage the upper body and your core from here. All right, Sagan, so this is the second pose here. This is the low cobra pose. And basically, you're on your belly. You want your feet to stay flat, press down into the floor, and bring your hands underneath the shoulders. Keep the elbows in at your sides. You're not going out wide, but you're keeping everything close. And bring your chin to the floor to begin. And then with an inhale, peel up your head, neck, and chest. With the exhale, roll back down. And then you inhale, peel up, exhale, roll down. You're going to do that 5 times. Now on your 5th time, hold it. And stay lifted through your head, neck, and chest. Keep the hands lifted if you can. And keep the elbows at your sides, pull the shoulders down and back, and just keep that lift through the upper body. Press down into your feet. And this is going to help you strengthen the low back from here, and just give you a little more core strength. Now the next thing after this is stepping back to a lunge. And I recommend this for warming up. So basically you're just going to be, you can stand on a yoga mat to do this, or you'd be standing one line, but just standing with the feet together, the hands at your hips to begin. And then just to show this back and forth, basically you're just doing a lunging stance. So you're going to put the weight to one foot, get right and get light on the other, and then step back, come up onto the toes, keep the heel lifted, and lengthen out. So the front leg's going to come toward 90 degrees. The back leg's going to come as close to straight as you can get it. So you really start straightening through that knee. You're going to feel a stretch through the thigh, in front of the pelvis, through the hip flexor here. And this is really what you're after, to just kind of lengthen things out. This is going to help you warm up. When you step back, try to see if the feet are on 2 separate tracks, about hips width distance apart. That's going to help you stay balanced. And you're just going to step it back, hold it, feel a stretch for a moment, and then bring it forward. And then step back with the other foot. Sink in, find your balance, and bring it forward. And then step it back again, feel out that length, and come forward. And then step it back, and bring it forward. Now when you step back, find your position, bring your spine upright so that you're vertical. If you need to lean forward on the transition back and forth, it's no big deal. But find your position so that you're lengthening out the front of the body. And that's the second thing from that. Let me just look at my notes to see what's after this. And then there were 2 standing balances that I would recommend from here for you. And all this is, again, gets into core strength through the length of your body, but also the practicing the standing balance is going to help you strengthen your feet. Make sure you're doing this barefoot. It's going to help you strengthen your feet. It's going to help strengthen your calf. Remember, when you're doing a standing balance, when you're on one leg and the other one's lifted, you can always bend the standing knee if you need to. So you don't have to lock this out. And I know you're talking about hyperextension through your knee joint. If you're feeling that discomfort, don't take it all the way to full extension. Have at least a micro bend in the knee. You don't have to completely lock it out. You can always bend just a little bit. And keep in mind, you want to have some sort of ease in that leg, and you can be a little bit springy on the leg that you're supporting yourself with. But the first thing I recommend for standing balance, and this is just to really get you using the muscles all through the length of your body to stay extended while you're still balancing. It's going to stretch your hip flexors out a little bit, or not your hip flexors, but rather the hamstrings, even though you're a little bit open. You're already pretty open with that. And you're going to try to hold this for a full minute. And I recommend actually timing this, because a lot of times the perception of time when you're balancing isn't very accurate. So you want to have some kind of external measure of what you're doing. When you get used to counting out for a minute, you get the hang of this after a while. But what you want to do from here is just keep the arms down at your sides and keep your body long rather than just letting the arms hang. And I'm going to stand on my left foot right now and let the right foot extend. So I'm just coming to the tips of the toes of my right foot, and then keeping my body long from the crown of my head to my right heel. Now with that length, I'm just going to hinge from my left hip and let the right leg lift. And as I come down, the right leg stays in line with the left knee. Now the toes of my right foot are going to stay pointed toward the back of the room. You can even come to a demi-point, curling the toes in. But hold the balance as best you can. Whoop, and if you lose it, just touch down. But really try to hold on to this for as long as possible. Now careful not to lift the hip of the side that's actually lifted of the extended leg. Make sure that hip actually stays squared to the one that's actually supporting you here. And you're going to try to hold this for a full minute. And to see that from a front view, I'll do this on my other leg. So with my right foot as my base, I'm stepping my left foot back under the big toe, keeping the arms in line, and then just hinge from the hip of that extended leg, or the hip of the supporting leg, and just reach the crown of your head forward, and try to keep yourself as balanced as best you can. Remember, you can bend into the knee if you need to. And that's the balance from here. Now the other one I'm going to recommend for you, especially since he showed me that pose, I don't remember what it was called, but it's very similar in yoga to a dancer's pose. With kind of a reverse grip of what you usually have. So dancer in yoga is basically taking hold of the same side foot with the same side arm, and really creating that sort of bow shape and bringing yourself forward. The pose you showed me was two hands. No, actually, I believe it was one hand from above, but holding the opposite foot. So give it a try with this dancer with a reverse grip from here. And keep in mind, rather than worrying about whether you're getting that full pose that you need for your dance routine, this is really still about just exercising the leg, engaging your core muscles, and really building a little more control over your balance. So from here, I'm going to use my right foot as my base, and with my right hand, I'm going to reach back to my left foot. So initially from here, just to keep the balance, you want to just find the foot. And for you, I believe I would recommend taking hold of the outer edge of the foot from the eventual pose that you showed me that you're working toward. And then from here, my left arm my left arm's high, the palms forward, and then I'm going to kick into my right hand. Now keep in mind, as you kick into the hand, just lean your torso forward with the tension of the kick. So stay long through the hip of the leg that you're kicking through. And then just hinge through the hip of the leg that you're actually standing on. And as you kick into the hand, let your chest open up, let your torso come forward, but make sure you're keeping your body nice and long on the side of that lifted leg. And just keep your gaze forward, come into this as deeply as you can, and then slowly bring yourself back out. And I'm recommending a minute on each side for that. And let me show you this from a front view from here. So basically, to find that stance, my right hand's at my hip, the left foot is going to be my supporting foot, and I'm going to bring my left hand to my right foot from here. So I'm going to reach back, find the outer edge of the foot, and then from here again, I'm looking forward, I'm reaching up, and just letting my body tilt with the tension, but no break at the hip here. So I'm letting that knee lift as I come forward and finding that bow shape. And again, just hold this for about a minute. And that's all I had on that. Now, if you're keeping up with this, keep in mind I'm making a lot of guesses on what will work for you specifically. So if you find that these poses don't seem to be helping you, feel free to email me, ask me some questions. Maybe I can come up with a few more things for you. But I'm just kind of setting this out as sort of a baseline daily practice. And really, before you can kind of judge whether or not this is doing you a lot of good, you're going to need to keep it up for a few weeks. And more days than not, so at least 4 days out of 7. So just evaluate it, week to week. Try to do it every day if you can. You'll probably need a break now and again. Don't knock yourself if you skip it a day or two. But stay as consistent as possible for 4 weeks. And then you'll know if you're really getting some kind of result with this or not. This is subtle work. It's more about balance and tension, and really you're strengthening things other than just the muscles. But it's a lot of the smaller muscles that are working, and it's a lot of the supporting tissues around the muscles. And if there's other stuff you want to do, if you have time, if you find that you're just breezing through this and you want to work on things through a few other steps, I have a few other ideas, but I don't want to really just give you some massive list of things that just seems like too big of a checklist that you'll never get to. So see what works for you, and then feel free to email me anytime. Thank you.